Into the final stages we go now, over in the group stages for Euro 2020, as we take a look at the final matches for groups D, E and F. Who's going to go through, who's going to go home? We'll take a little look next. That's right, folks, back once again with another prediction video. Today we're taking a look at, of course, match day number 3 in groups D, E and F, and we'll get to that in just 1 second. If you do, smash your subscribe button and get your bang up to date with all things Euro 2020 related, blah, blah, always related, football related. We got it all here under one rooski. That's right, boys and girls, it is starting to heat up. Some teams are on their last lives, others are already through to the next round. We'll take a look at that in a minute. Big shout out to the VRPs. They are the Patreons. Thank you for your continued support, of course, as we try to push this channel up to another level. And of course, to you guys watching, smash your subscribe. It's the race to 25k. Can we get to 25k before the end of the tournament? That's a big old bold ask. But of course, you're the only ones that can do that. So anyway, let's jump in the deep end and have a little look, shall we? So let's turn the clock back then to, of course, to the recent round of matches over in groups D, E and F. Kicking it all off with group, as we do, randomly. Group E, that's right, it was Poland up against Spain. And of course, ended up as a 1-1 draw in the end. Point split right down the middle. Goals come from Alvaro Morata, giving Spain the lead before Robert Lewandowski getting his first of the tournament to get Poland's first point of the tournament. Of course, maybe even move them closer to the knockout stages. Kicking on further then, same group, it was Sweden up against Slovakia. I went with a 2-0 win in the end, and it actually was just the 1-0 win with the goal coming from Emil Forsberg from the penalty spot, giving Sweden a win. A very stodgy game though, as a Slovakia trying to get that one more point to guarantee a spot in the last 16. Kicking off forward back to England's group, Croatia won, Czech Republic won, and I got that one bang on the bloody nose. That's right, Patrick Schick from the penalty spot before Ivan Perisic in the second half restored the game to level pegging, and of course a point apiece. Meanwhile, Scotland against England was a 0-0 draw. I went with the 2-0 win myself, and I'm happy with that. I was wrong. Scotland, I think, probably deserved to nick that if we were to be a little bit honest with each other. But yeah, point in the bag, and of course it all goes down to the wire. Next up, of course, we had Hungary against France. Everybody and their sons must have went with a win for France, but it was a 1-1 draw. That's right. Goals from Antila Fiola on the score sheet. Antoine Griezmann towards the back end, giving France a share of the spoils, and of course keeps them both in. And of course it'll make for a lively match number 3. And finally, Germany were back and restored their chances. I went with the 2-1 win, but if you double it, you get the right scoreline, 4-2 win in the end. If I go back, the goals for Germany, a couple of own goals, Ruben Diaz and Rafael Herrero. Ronaldo actually opened up the scoring for the day for Portugal. Kai Havertz, Ruben Gosens giving Germany a 4-1 lead before Diogo Jota wrapped it all up to make it 4-2. And the game of the tournament so far. So take a look at the situation over in the groups. Here it is right now. For, of course, these groups. Czech Republic lead the charge. England are in second spot, but again, it is wide open. In fact, all these 3 groups here are wide open. No one's home and hosed just yet. Anyone can go home, anyone can go through, and of course, I'll give you my verdict at the end of it. Sweden, of course, top of the group in Group E. Slovakia in second, of course. If they were to all draw, if all these games were to end draws this coming week, Czechs, England, Sweden, Slovakia, France and Germany would go through, and then there's a waiting game for Croatia, Spain and Portugal as well. So that's my picks. What about you? Let's take a look at the leaderboard for the Prediction League. Here we go. This is for this week and this week alone. Now I'm going to do a bit of a someone telling off here. Now Gilmore is top here with 4 out of 6. Now for me, getting 4 out of 6 with those scorelines is a bit of a bold. So I let you know this. I can look at the timestamps on this. Now Gilmore's was late. I'm going to let him off this time. He put his picks in, I think, on the 19th. The game's already started on the 18th. So people. Realistically, when we do these prediction leagues, if you're late, you're going to be reprimanded. You're going to be shouted out, called out. So I don't want a cheating business. I forgot to flick the switch. Maybe that's my fault, but I'm going to allow this one here. If you're late, basically you're kind of trying to bend the rules here a little bit. We want to have an honest prediction leagues here. So if you can't be honest, then you know where to go. You know where the door is. So Gilmore, I'm going to allow it this time, but don't be late. I'm going to make sure I switch off that bloody switch, so you can't be late anyways. But anyway, he's got this one. He's got the win here. It doesn't really amount to. The reason why I'm allowing it is because it doesn't really affect the real leaderboard. Also, when you put your name in, I said this time last round, make sure you get it spot on. Don't add an extra space at the end of the name. Don't add an extra space anywhere, because it's going to mess up the things. And I'm not gonna go back and fix it all the time. I did a couple of times the other day. Look at Omar Esquivel. No, I don't want to point out because he's a bit much love to my Mexican fellow over there. But he added an extra space at the end of it, so he's entered it twice. Don't enter it twice either. That also makes it a bit of a problem. So do not do that, please. That's the simple rules. But this is the leaderboard overall for the grand scheme of things as we enter the final stretch of games, not including match number 2.2. Jens van der Poel leads with 16 at the moment. Hans Wurst is second. Shane O'Donnell is also his second with Master Fighter Patrick W. Tom Stainer as well. And then the chasing pack. It is tight at the top, and of course we've got a lot more points to be offered into the back end. But of course, it's all going to continue right here, right now with match number 3, part 2. So here we go. Before we do that, actually, this is a quick link if you want to join in right here, right now. There's still, if you can catch the tail end of the other one, match number 3.1, you can get 6 points there, another 6 points here. And of course, there's a whole load of points to be grabbed in the next round. But anyway, 3.2, here it is. Of course, make sure you go over to the link and fill in your bits. Once, one and done. Don't mess up with your name, because if you go back in twice, it just messes it up. Forget about it. Kick it all off then, shall we? Let's take a look at Scotland going against a Croatia time. It will be played in Scotland on, of course, the 22nd of June. They played each other 3 times since 2008. The Croatians haven't beat Scotland in that time. 2 wins for Scotland, just 1 draw as well. The biggest win for Scotland was a 2-0 win. In fact, they scored 4 goals with a 1-goal return over Croatia, which is a 1.33 goals a game ratio. Heading into this, Scotland are in pretty good form. Just 1 defeat the past 6 games. Whereas Croatia come into this without a win in 4 matches. Quick look at the recent encounters. That was last round was a World Cup qualifying. It was in Scotland. It was a 2-0 win. It was back in 2013. The bookies odds on this one then, shall we? Croatia are still your favourites. 11-8 for the odds on this one. 50-8 is your Scotland and 13-5 is your draw. I'm playing with my heartstrings here, boys and girls. I'm going to go with it. And this would be hysteria for me if we could do this. Going to go with a 2-1 win for Scotland to get over the line. And of course, that would put us through to the next round. That would put them on 4 points, I believe. And that should be enough. And of course, it would put Croatia at least bottom of the group. And of course, Scotland would be in the mix for the third. Or maybe even top honours. I don't know about top honours. Let's take a look at the next round. Of course, it is England up against Czech Republic at Wembley. Of course, they played each other a few times in recent times. In fact, they were in the same groups to get this far. They played each other just 3 times in 2008, 1 win apiece and 1 draw. The biggest win for Czechs over them, their one and only win, was a 2-1 win. Meanwhile, England did record a 5-0 win not too long ago, as a qualifier to get into this. They also drew as well. In fact, England scored 8 goals for a 4-goal return over the Czechs, which is around about 2.67 goals against ratio. And they come into this with 92% form, winning 5 of the past 6 games. The only hiccup was, of course, that draw against the Scots. Meanwhile, the Czechs also come into this unbeaten in the last 3, and they've been my surprise so far of the tournament. Getting a result against the Czechs, beating Scotland quite comfortably. I think they could get something out of this game. And they might even want to. England might even play with a little bit of lackluster once again, just to kind of settle the nerves, and maybe they don't want to take on those winners in Group F. So we'll see, or the runners up in Group F. So it might work out in England's favour if they play a little bit sheepish. Last time they played, there was in the Czech Republic. It was a 2-1 win for the Czechs as well. The odds are 30-2 for the Czech Republic, 5-3 on is your England, and 12-5 is the draw. For me, I'm going to go with a 3-0 win for England, even though I'm just realistically, England should win this one quite comfortably. So I'm going to go with a 3-0 win, and of course everyone's going to be back on the old "it's coming home" train. Next up we go into Group E. It will be Leswed up against Poland. Of course, they've just been in action just yesterday anyway. Poland have anyway, taking place on Wednesday the 23rd of June. Now these two sides have played each other 6 times since 1974. 5 wins for Leswed, 1 win for Poland, and no draws. The biggest win though for Sweden in those 5 was a 3-0 win. Meanwhile, the one and only win for Poland was a 1-0 win as well. They've only scored 2 goals against Sweden in those 6 matches, with Sweden picked up 11 goals, which is around about 1.83 goals a game ratio. On the flip side, Poland have got a 0.33 goals a game ratio. Poland come into this just 1 win in the past 6 games, 42% form. They're drawing a lot of games. Meanwhile, the Swedes come into this winning 5 of the past 6 as well. They did draw against Spain, and they also picked up a stodgy win against Slovakia. Sweden are just awkward. They're an awkward team. They can grind out the 0-0s. They haven't really got a prolific goal scorer. Of course, Abramovich was meant to be in the mix, but of course he picked up an injury right towards the back end. Last time they played was a 3-1 win for Sweden. It was a friendly back in 2004. The one and only win for Poland go all the way back to 1974. Quick look at the odds then. 90-10 for Sweden, 29-20 is your Poland, and 23-10 is your draw. I think Poland are going to nick this one 2-1 win. It will put them on, what will it put them on? It will put them on 4 points, and also put Sweden on 4 points. And again, it'll be a matter of what happens in the next game between Spain and Slovakia. Let's have a look at this one then, shall we? Again, I'm going to get my match previews on these today, maybe tomorrow, probably today. They played each other just 4 times since 2005. 2 wins for Spain, 1 win for Slovakia, and 1 draw. The one and only win for Slovakia was a 2-1 win. Meanwhile, Spain have recorded a 5-1 win, the biggest in this fixture, going back to 2005. In fact, they scored 9 goals over Slovakia's 4, which is a 2.25 goals a game ratio, picking up a 1 goal in return though for Slovakia. Spain come into unbeaten in the last 6, just 67% form. Meanwhile, Slovakia come into just one defeat the past 6, 58% form. The last time they played was a 2-0 win in Spain. It was the European qualifying campaign for the 2016 Euros. That one and only win for Slovakia was a 2-1 win, also in the same qualifying campaign, and it was over over in Slovakia. Look at the bookies odds on this one. We have 14-1 for Slovakia. Long shots. 5-1 on is your Spain. 11-2 is your draw on this one. Going to go with, unfortunately, I'm going to go with Spain. I did anticipate they would be one of the nations that would struggle, and I think they could be one of the nations that could still crash out if Slovakia play their A game. If they draw this game, Spain are in trouble. Spain are in trouble. In fact, they will be out. They will be out because, well, in fact, Poland, realistically, they'll be out. A draw knocks out Spain. That's what you've got to think about it that way, because they'll end up with 2 points, and I'm sure even the likes of the people in Group A will have more points than that. Into the final stretches now, into Group F. It is the Group of Death. It is Portugal up against France, of course. 2 heavyweight encounters as the European champions up against the world champions. Of course, played each other 8 times since 1984. 6 wins for La France, just 1 win for Portugal, and 1 draw. That 1 win was a 1-0 win for Portugal. Meanwhile, the biggest win for France over Portugal, guess what? Out of those 6 wins was a 1-0 win. That's right. In fact, France have only scored 10 goals over Portugal in those 8 matches, and Portugal have just scored 5 goals returned. 0.63 goals a game ratio for Portugal, but meanwhile the French have got 1.25 goals a game ratio. They come into this 92% form, of course, drawing with Hungary, which was a bit of a surprise, but prior to that, 5 wins on the spin. Portugal come into this just 1 defeat the past 6. That was against Germany. The last time they played, there was a 1-0 win for France in the Nations League back in 2020, just less than 6 months ago, or just around about 6 months ago. The last time Portugal won was in 2016. It was in the Euro Cup knockout stages, and it was the final. That's right. The bookies odds on this one: 3-1 for Portugal, 5-4 on is your France, and 9-5 is your draw. For me, I think the French are going to win this one, 2-0 win, and that puts Portugal with, 3 points? France on, 7 points? And what's going to happen with the next one? Let's take a look at Germany up against Hungary then, shall we? Of course, in the group of death, once again. Now, these two sides, old school sides, of course, they haven't been in the same sort of level for a while. They played each other 3 times since 2004, 2 wins for the Germans, 1 for the Hungarians, no draws. That one and only win for Hungary was a 2-0 win. Meanwhile, though, the biggest win for Germany out of the 2 was a 3-0 win. They've actually scored 5 goals over Hungary's 2 in those 3 matches. Hungary picking up a 0.67 goals a game ratio. Meanwhile, the Germans picking up a 1.67 goals a game ratio. They come into this 58% form for the Germans. That's actually just 1 defeat the past 4. Meanwhile, Hungary coming into this just 1 defeat the past 6. 67% form as well, looking pretty good. Last time they played was a 2-0 win in Germany. It was in friendly. That was back in 2016. Hungary's win was back in 2004, another friendly, and it was also in Germany. The bookies odds: 6-1 on is your Germany, 30-2 is your draw, 16-1 is your long shots. That is, of course, Hungary. They come into this with 1 point. Germany got 3. I think they're going to run away with it with a 4-0 win and put Germany back on the map. And 6 points would probably put them in runners-up spot according to my predictions. That's what I think will happen. Be sure to get your picks in nice and early as well as we look forward to the knockout stages, boys and girls. And again, a recap: if you want to get your picks in and get into the league, this is how you do it. You go over this link down the bottom there. Cut the Euro 2020 C2. That's right, match number 3.2. What do you think about that? And what do you think about the state of play in Euro 2020? Are we going to see some of the big boys going home? Croatia, Spain got it all to do. And what about Portugal? Could they actually get knocked out in the group stages with a defeat and maybe even end up with just 3 points on the board? It could be a bit of a perilous wait for Portugal. But of course, we're going to have to wait to those conclusions of the Group F games to find out who are the confirmed 16 nations. But anyway, let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. Of course, we look forward to seeing you when we preview and predict the old knockout stages. So smash the old subscribe, smash the little bell, and of course, the live watch songs will be back as we enter the round of 16. But until then, I'll see you soon for the next one. Until then, smash your thumbs up, smash your subscribe, and of course, check out the description, links to my other social media platforms: Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, and of course, Patreon. Until then, we are out.